What is going on, YouTube? So today I'm gonna do a little video on how to bleed a T-56 clutch with really cheap parts. I think I got this at O'Reilly's for $8. All you really need with this is just the hose and the fittings. Then I got this syringe off Amazon for $3. But I'm gonna go ahead and first talk about why you want to bleed your clutch. In my case, this car has aftermarket long tube headers, and the issue with long tube headers and the factory master cylinder is it'll actually overheat the clutch fluid, and the biggest issue is your fluid will get dirty, it'll turn black because it will boil. Then you get air in the system, and your clutch pedal will fall to the floor, and you have to kick it back up, and that's usually a sign of air in the system. I fell in master cylinder. This is just kind of a temp fix until I replace this, but ultimately everyone needs to replace this with the T-56 adjustable master cylinder, because these just don't push the fluid needed to shift gears, especially in higher RPMs and when the transmission gets really hot. So go with the T-56 because it's got a bigger bore, stainless steel line, and it's adjustable. So, but in the meantime, before I save up the dough to get that, because they're pretty expensive, I'm going to bleed this, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that, and I'm going to tell you guys the symptoms of a bad master cylinder. And like I said, in my case, mine's because of the headers, and they will boil the clutch fluid. It turns black, you get air in the system. So you can get some high temp brake fluid to put in there, which I'm going to get. I haven't really done any research on the best yet, but I'm going to try to find something that has a very high boiling point. And to kind of knock out a slave cylinder issues, usually you'll have an external leak. You can actually jack the car up and look and see if you have a leak. Obviously, I do not have a leak because my fluid is good. So check your fluid. If you're losing the fluid, it could be your slave cylinder internally, if you can't find it like against your firewall or anything with the master cylinder. Another thing with a slave cylinder, from my past experience with them going bad, your pedal is usually always on the floor. My issue is the pedal sticks with aggressive driving. You can look it up, it's a very common issue. Lots of people will do a drill mod, they will remove the spring in the clutch pedal, but ultimately it comes down to air getting in the system, and it's just this piss poor design of a master cylinder that GM put in these cars. So I mean, you could take the spring out, you can do the drill mod, but I mean, over time it's not really worth it. You're just doing temporary fixes. The main fix is the better master cylinder from T-56 Performance. So that kind of knocks out a slave cylinder issue. You know, some people have pressure plate issues. That usually when you have a slave cylinder issue or a pressure plate issue, when your pedal sticks to the floor, it'll kind of raise up on its own, or you can rest your foot on the clutch pedal and it'll kind of bleed down on its own. My car's not doing that. Once my clutch pedal hits the floor, it stays. I have to kick it back up, and I can rest my foot in the clutch and it does not bleed down. So ultimately, I mean, all that narrows down to is air in the system. So we're going to bleed that out. I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Okay, so here we are in the laboratory. So here's the syringe. Like I said, you want to get some fittings. You want to get 2 of these nipples. So what I done, I actually hooked one up to the bleeder line itself, and this line is actually too narrow to actually slide up into the syringe itself. So I shoved in the secondary nipple inside the syringe, as you can see here. Yeah, right there. That's where you'll hook up your new, the other end of the bleeder line. So we're going to hook that up. We're going to shove this into the master cylinder, and we're going to bleed all the air out. Okay, so I have some paper towels laid out here to pull this rubber piece out. Brake fluid is extremely corrosive to paint, so you definitely want to be careful when you take that out. You can see mine's pretty dirty. It was actually good fluid. It's just, it turns black that fast. Headers will do that. So, we're going to get this, I'm gonna fish it in there and shove that bad boy in there and pull some freaking air bubbles out. Okay, so this is kind of hard to do with just two hands, but what I'm doing is I'm holding this nipple in to the syringe to make sure that it doesn't come back out. Then you want to hold that line into the hole, into the master cylinder hole, and then you're going to use your other hand, the one I'm actually using to record everything with right now, and pull the plunger on the syringe, and you'll see the brake fluid start coming up. And once it comes out about right here, just anywhere like in that loop right there, if I can point at it and show you guys. Well, anyway, right where it's starting to curve right there, just get your fluid kind of right there and leave it, and you can watch the bubbles start coming out of the fluid. And once you pull in the syringe some more until the bubbles stop, then you've pretty much got it bled. Then just go inside the car and just kind of pump the clutch and see if it's stiffened up any, and it should. So I figured for better demonstration purposes, I would just pull all the old fluid out and show you guys exactly what we're doing here. Getting this nipple put down in there. And it's best to use both your hands and hold that in, and then pull all the air bubbles out. And then I want to put new fluid in it since the other crap was black and disgusting. So you can see I'm pulling some micro bubbles out. This is pretty much the sign that you're done. I actually pulled a little bit of fluid inside the syringe. It actually pulled more air out. So I just want to kind of let it bleed a little bit more on its own while it has suction through it. And then I'm going to go ahead and put that bad boy back in and pump the clutch and give her a test drive. Alright, so now we have this sealed up and bled pretty good. So, close the hood. We'll get inside the car. Let's see how the clutch feels with all the air out of it. And, oh yeah, you can tell it feels a lot better. So, next thing is to give her a test drive and see how she does. Oh, so far everything's good. That pretty much concludes the video right there. Clutch is working good, and actually shift now and the higher RPMs and stuff. So, yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope this helps somebody.